After 2 months of waiting, we finally get a new chapter of Boruto, and in this chapter we get introduced to a new Ōtsutsuki character. Now, people actually believe that this character is Jigen, but I have proof that this character is not Jigen and that the writers are just playing tricks with you, so they do a big reveal at the end showing you that you were wrong all along. I think that this is just a string they are leading you to follow to find out in the end that this is actually a brand new character. So if you're new to my channel, subscribe and hit the notification button because I do Boruto videos on a weekly basis. So let's get on with the video. I don't think that Jigen is actually this new character that has been introduced in this story, and I think that is because the writers are trying to mislead you. Now here's my evidence why. Alright, so the dimension that Sasuke goes into, people actually think that this dimension belongs to Jigen. However, that is not the case at all. Otsutsuki's travel from dimension to dimension, and then they find a dimension and just claim it, right? Because all these worlds, all these planets, right, it's not dimensions, it's planets, they actually just discover and then they claim. So whatever we are seeing here is not actually a dimension, it is just another world in where Jigen has actually made his base, right? And the information that Sasuke actually sees there is that all Ōtsutsuki's travel in pairs, like Momoshiki and Kinshiki travel in pairs, and then there's another pair which we cannot see because the hieroglyphics is what I'm going to call it have been destroyed. But the most important one is the one in the middle, which actually depicts that Kaguya Ōtsutsuki had a partner, and that is who this new Ōtsutsuki member is, and people think that this person is Jigen. Here's my proofs to prove that this person is not Jigen and that the writers are just trying to trick you guys. Let's start with appearances. So number one, look at an Ōtsutsuki and look at Jigen, right? Ōtsutsuki's have the Ōtsutsuki crest. If you look behind Jigen, Jigen's crest behind him is not of the Ōtsutsuki clan. So that's the first thing. Second thing is that the Ōtsutsuki's actually have horns. It is depicted that they have horns. Jigen has no horns. Physically on him, on his body, he has no horns, right? And the third of all is that Ōtsutsuki's have white grayish hair, and Jigen doesn't have white grayish hair. In fact, in the manga, his hair is depicted as black, or at least if it's not black, it's going to be some other color besides gray or white. And finally, the Byakugan. If you actually look at the hieroglyphics that Sasuke was looking at, the top one, obviously one of the Ōtsutsuki's will have the one that looks like a Rinnegan, and then there would be a bottom one which is white and round, and I assume that symbolizes the Byakugan, right? Jigen does not seem to have the Byakugan because if you look at his eyes, he doesn't even have the iconic grey pupils that people from the Hyuga clan have or the Otsutsuki have. So physically, there is no evidence to suggest that Jigen is actually an Otsutsuki. So now let's try and uncover the identity of Kaguya's partner as well as where this person is right now if it's not Jigen. So let's look at the hieroglyphics, which I assume Jigen updates because holograms is technology right there. We know that Kara are good at using technology, so it is confirmed that Jigen is the one who built this, right? And if that is the case, he updates the hieroglyphics based on who has the Rinnegan. We know that he knows Momoshiki, and that Momoshiki out of the pairs is the one that has the Rinnegan, right? And out of the pairs with Kaguya and her partner, we can see that Kaguya was the only one who was able to attain the Rinnegan, right? And her partner doesn't have that. How did Kaguya Otsutsuki gain the Rinnegan? She did it by coming down. Instead of actually harvesting the tree, she decided to betray her Otsutsuki members and ate it for herself, and that is how she gained the Rinnegan according to the anime. It was actually never said in the manga, so it's really confusing here whether she always had the Rinnegan out of the pair and actually came on Earth in order to use her jutsu to capture everyone and then, you know, complete her mission, or whether she actually ate the fruit in order to attain the Rinnegan. Either way, she ate the fruit and she gained some kind of chakra and power and used that to cast the infinite Tsukiyomi. So we can assume that by eating the fruit, she did attain a Rin Sharingan, right? So with that being said, because she betrayed the Ōtsutsuki's, right, that means she also betrayed her partner, leaving her partner to wander all alone because Kaguya has the Rinnegan instead of him. another thing to consider is the face of the Otsutsuki. Yeah, they showed us the Otsutsuki, but they never actually showed us the face of the Otsutsuki. And the reason why I think that is because once you see the face of the Otsutsuki and you look at Jigen's face, you will see that these are completely separate people. They did the same thing when Jigen actually looked like the Otsutsuki when he was absorbing some of the juubi's chakra. So they are hiding both the faces of Jigen when he looks like that and the Otsutsuki in the hologram, which is kind of suspicious. And that actually gives us another clue. So now let's move on to the next clue, right? So we have the juubi, which has been sealed here. And I can confirm that this is not Kaguya Otsutsuki because of these reasons. First of all, Kaguya Otsutsuki has been sealed away on another planet, right? So if Jigen actually wants to retrieve Kaguya, or if this juubi is Kaguya, then Jigen must have found the coordinates, which he doesn't know. So therefore, it would be very, very difficult to impossible for him to actually find the location of this new world where Kaguya actually has been sealed. Second of all, he would have to collect chakra from all the tailed beasts, right? And every single piece of chakra of the tailed beast is conscious and can communicate to Naruto. So if that was the case, they would have already told Naruto about Jigen, who he is and what he is doing, and if a juubi has been created using little pieces of chakra collected from all the tailed beasts, and he would have to somehow find a way to collect chakra from Naruto, which is basically impossible because Naruto basically has 100% of Kurama's chakra. This all basically confirms that this juubi right here is not Kaguya Otsutsuki. So now let's talk about how a juubi is created. We know that the Otsutsukis travel from planet to planet in order to plant world trees. It's not like every single planet has its own world tree. No, they go there, they plant the trees, and they actually harvest the chakra. This is known to everybody, right? And the thing is that they all plant multiple trees in order to make the process faster. I mean, look at the one tree which was planted by Kaguya, which took forever and still was not enough to harvest the entire planet's chakra, right? So multiple trees are planted in order for this to happen. So what I think is this: how the first juubi was created is for an Otsutsuki or a conscious person to fuse themselves with a tree in order to give the tree consciousness, and that is what makes a juubi, right? So with that being said, Kaguya had a Rinne Sharingan, and by her fusing with the tree, it created a living tree, which is the juubi that has a Rinne Sharingan, right? So if that is the case, if this is how a juubi is created, and you look at this new juubi is alive. We know that the juubi is a combination of a tree and a conscious life, which means that this juubi is a fusion of someone else. And I think that this person is actually Kaguya's partner, because this person also has a Rinnegan, and Rinnegans are associated with Otsutsukis. So that is what we have right here. That is basically who this juubi is. This juubi is the partner of Kaguya Otsutsuki, and I'm gonna give you even more evidence proving this. When Jigen speaks to the juubi, people said that they've noticed that Jigen can levitate, right? And because of that, that is more proof that he is the Otsutsuki. But let me disprove this by saying this, right? So every single person who absorbed chakra from the juubi had the ability to levitate. Naruto had the ability to levitate by collecting all the tail beasts, and Madara had the ability to levitate when he became the juubi's Jinchuriki. Obito had the power to levitate by becoming the Jinchuriki of the juubi. So anyone who absorbs chakra from the juubi will collectively gain the abilities of levitation, or even the person who is the juubi, because Kaguya can levitate and Madara absorbed the juubi, which was Kaguya. Madara gained all of Kaguya's abilities, including the Rinne Sharingan, and one of Kaguya's abilities was levitation or flight, right? So by absorbing the chakra of this juubi, it stands to reason that Jigen would also gain flight, because that is the power which all Otsutsukis have, which basically gives us more evidence that this juubi is Kaguya's partner. And the other thing I want to talk about here is the fact that when Jigen was absorbing the chakra of this juubi, he started to gain the form of Kaguya's partner, and that is why people also think that he is Kaguya's partner. But let me disprove this right here. So what happened to Obito once he decided to absorb the juubi? He started gaining pale skin like an Otsutsuki. He started gaining horns like an Otsutsuki. Why is this? It is because they are gaining Kaguya Otsutsuki's form, because that is Kaguya Otsutsuki. They are absorbing Kaguya Otsutsuki, so they gain her powers and her form, right? An Otsutsuki form. And the same thing happened to Madara. In fact, he started looking more like Kaguya Otsutsuki when he became the Jinchuriki, and then decided to absorb the tree as well. Like, he gained all those markings on his cloak. So the same thing is happening with Jigen. When he decides to absorb chakra from this new juubi, he starts to look like the person that has been fused with the juubi. That's exactly what is going on here, and because he looks like that person, people automatically thought that this is Kaguya's partner, that Jigen is Kaguya's partner. But no, if you collect all the information we've gotten about the juubi and how everything works in terms of absorbing the juubi, then all of this will make 100% sense to you. When Hagoromo was fighting Kaguya alongside Hamura, he did say that Kaguya did fuse with the tree in order to retrieve all the chakra, right? So I think that was done out of desperation because it was 2 against 1. What I think happened here with Kaguya's partner is that he might have been fighting Jigen, since this partner was never mentioned in the lore, meaning that he was separated from Kaguya, or at least something must have happened to him. And I think what happened is Jigen, right? And that is another theory for another video, which will be coming soon, about Jigen, who he might potentially be. But I think what happened is that this guy must have eaten the fruit of another tree, and like I said, Otsutsuki's do plant multiple trees on the planet, and he must have been on that planet right there where this juubi is captured, is where Jigen might have fought him, where he grew a tree and tried to absorb the planet's energy, but then that failed because Jigen was trying to fight him. He must have been at a disadvantage and then decided to fuse with the tree out of desperation, in the same way Kaguya did. But then Jigen did capture him, and by eating the fruit of the tree before fusing with it, obviously he gained a Rinnegan, and that could explain why this juubi has a Rinnegan. Since this guy never appeared on Earth, that must mean that he lost his fight against Jigen, and possibly he did not fuse himself with the tree, but Jigen was the one who did that to him and put him in that state to capture him, to use him as a source of chakra in order to fuel all of his jutsus. Like, say for example, warping into different dimensions requires a lot of chakra, so it would make sense for him to actually absorb some of the chakra from this juubi right here in order to replenish his stock. And also he has that space-time ninjutsu where he uses that to communicate with all the members of Kara. In order to do this, that requires a high amount of chakra, so using the juubi as a power source makes perfect sense, because the juubi is an Otsutsuki and can absorb the chakra of the planet which it is on in order to replenish its chakras. What I think went down with Kaguya's partner is that he sent Kaguya to Earth for Kaguya to plant the tree whilst he was doing it on the planet that the juubi is on. But then he encountered Jigen, and then obviously when fighting Jigen, he must have eaten a fruit from the tree to gain a Rinnegan in order to gain the upper hand. But nothing went as planned, and Jigen somehow gained the upper hand, trapped him within a tree in order to turn him into a dumb juubi so that he can use him as a power source. So therefore, by trapping him, he built the whole shrine on top of the juubi in order to keep him there. And that is why most likely Kaguya's partner never made it to Earth, and that could also explain why he was never mentioned in Hagoromo's story about Kaguya Otsutsuki. It's because this person never made it to Earth. Let me know what you guys think about this theory in the comment section down below, because I'm really interested, and I'm gonna be dropping a video about Jigen and analyzing the chapter that came out, because there's loads more to uncover. So watch out for that video coming soon, and click on the left, proof that Momoshiki is still alive, and click on the right to know what would have happened if Toneri won against Naruto in the last movie and married Hinata. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I have nothing more to say, and bye.